Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. We're still in John chapter 9, looking at this wonderful moment when Jesus heals a man who has been blind from birth. Now today we're starting to read at verse 16. The Pharisees are questioning the man who was healed about how this occurred. And of course they're really upset, as we saw in yesterday's session, because Jesus healed him on the Sabbath. What an amazing thing that they could care less that he's got his sight back. They're only concerned that he got it back on the Sabbath day. So verse 16 they say, some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others said, well, how can a sinner perform such signs? So they were divided. So there's a division among them. Some just reject Jesus completely because he healed on the Sabbath. That's work. A person from God wouldn't work on the Sabbath even to heal a blind man. That's what they think. But others say, we've got a great sign here. A sign, a miracle. So how can we deny that? How can he be a sinner if he could perform such miraculous signs? Well, they're divided. They don't know what to do. So they again turn to the blind man to interrogate him further. The one who was blind, of course. They say, what have you to say about this man? It was your eyes he opened. Now notice that. They admit the miracle. It was your eyes he opened. They admit the miracle. They just don't want to believe in Jesus. The man replied, he is a prophet. Now, one of the things we're going to see throughout this story, throughout this miracle, throughout this episode, is this man who is healed as he grows in his understanding of who Jesus was. First, it's simply, Jesus is the man who healed me. And now when asked, what do you think of him? Well, he's a prophet. He's like one of the great prophets of old, maybe like Elijah, who performed great signs. That's going to grow. But they still did not believe, that is the Pharisees, that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. They thought, well, maybe this is a fraud. Maybe he's just pretending he was blind. We better verify he actually was blind. So they bring his parents in. Is this your son, they say? Is this the one that you say was blind? How is it that now he can see? The parents answered, well, we know he's our son. We know he was born blind. That's easily proved. But how he can see now or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He's of age. He can answer for himself. Now, his parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who had already decided that anyone who acknowledged Jesus as the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, he's of age. Ask him. Well, when the parents are brought in, they verify, of course, that their son has always been blind. But they're not going anywhere close to answering the question how he got his sight back. It's well known. The population of Jerusalem knows pretty well that leadership is against Jesus. And they've already put the word out. Anyone who confesses him as the Messiah, we're going to excommunicate. We're going to throw them out of the synagogue. Parents don't want that to happen to them. They don't want to be excommunicated. They don't want to be harassed. They don't want to become outcast. So they simply deflect the question. We don't know how he was healed. We weren't there. Ask him. He's a grown man. He can answer for himself. Well, once again, they turn to interrogating the man who had been blind but could now see. So a second time they summon him and say, give glory to God by telling the truth. We know this man is a sinner. They've already decided Jesus is a sinner because he heals on the Sabbath. Totally unconcerned that he brought light into a blind man's eyes. We know this man's a sinner. Give glory to God. The man replied, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see. I love that answer. Listen, you theologically have determined Jesus must be a sinner. I don't know how to refute that faulty theology, but one thing I can tell you, I was blind, but now I see. I was in darkness, but now I have the light. Now that's testimony. That's a testimony. I was blind, but now I see. And it's all because of Jesus. You know, when we give witness to the world, we may not be able to answer all the world's questions. We may not. But one thing we do know, what Jesus has done for us. We were blind, but now we see. We were lost, but now we're found. We were trapped in sin, but now we're set free. That's our testimony, simply to tell what Jesus has done for us. And that's what this man does. I don't know about all the things you're saying. I'm not a theologian. But I do know this. I was blind, and now I see. And it's because of Jesus. What a fascinating account of this conversation. There's more to come. We'll look at it in our next session of our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.